Do you think genius is a gift? What if I told you it's a curse? At the very moment you realize your mind is different, something shifts. The world around you starts to feel shallow, distant, and fragmented. You begin to see the subtle patterns that others can't, connections no one else notices, truths that make the average person uncomfortable. And with that, the weight begins, a weight that no one else can carry but you. Intelligence, in its rawest form, isn't just a gift, it's a relentless burden. Schopenhauer, the philosopher who so profoundly understood the human condition, wasn't interested in the romanticized version of genius. He wasn't here to reassure you that brilliance is the key to happiness or success. Instead, he shattered the illusion that intellect is a simple blessing. To Schopenhauer, the intelligent mind was a vessel filled with pain, confusion, and profound loneliness. The moment you see the world more clearly than others, you begin to understand just how much of it is fractured, superficial, and fleeting. Your brilliance doesn't bring you closer to the world. It drives a wedge between you and everyone around you. It creates a rift, one that deepens with every insight, every new understanding of the reality you're trapped in. Schopenhauer's own life was a testament to this cruel irony. While the world admired his intellect, he spent most of his days isolated, embittered, and misunderstood. He saw the world with the brutal clarity that only comes from a sharp, analytical mind. And it hurt. It hurt to see how meaningless so many of life's pleasures seemed. It hurt to know how empty the pursuit of happiness really was. The more intelligent you become, the more you are forced to face the truth about existence. The truth no one wants to confront. Life, in its most honest form, is a series of fleeting moments, a cycle of desires that will never be fully satisfied. Your intellect only magnifies this emptiness. The more you know, the more the walls close in. And so Schopenhauer argued that genius, true genius, was a form of suffering. It's the curse of seeing what others can't and the agony of understanding how little can be done about it. Unlike the average person who lives in blissful ignorance, the brilliant mind is doomed to constantly perceive the world's faults. It's not just a matter of being smart. It's about being trapped in the very prison of knowledge. Every answer you discover brings more questions, and with every truth you uncover, you lose a little bit more of your peace. Brilliance in Schopenhauer's world isn't a blessing. It's an endless cycle of awareness, insight, and ultimately, isolation. The more you know, the more you're separated from the rest of humanity. And that is the real price of genius. This section sets the tone by introducing Schopenhauer's perspective on intelligence as a curse, immediately engaging the viewer with a question that invites them to reflect on their own understanding of brilliance. To be truly intelligent is to live in a prison built of your own mind. Have you ever found yourself surrounded by people, yet still felt utterly alone? There's a peculiar kind of solitude that accompanies brilliance, one that you can't explain and no one else can understand. Schopenhauer grasped this harsh reality. Genius isolates. The more you know, the more you see, the further you are from the crowd. In the quiet of your mind, you begin to realize something that most others never will. That the world is a web of falsehoods, shallow distractions, and empty pursuits. Where others see simplicity, you see layers of complexity. Where others are content with the surface, you dive into the depths. And with that, the distance grows. Schopenhauer's life was defined by this alienation. His sharp intellect, rather than bringing him admiration or success, led him into a life of loneliness and frustration. While others found comfort in ignorance, Schopenhauer felt suffocated by the weight of his own understanding. He couldn't escape the constant flood of thoughts, each one unraveling the world just a little more, pushing him further from the rest of humanity. The intelligent mind, according to Schopenhauer, is often trapped in a prison not of bars, but of insight. Once you see the world clearly, once you can no longer ignore its flaws and absurdities, you're stuck in a state of perpetual awareness. And that awareness is a burden. Imagine walking through life, surrounded by people who are content to live, in the illusion of normalcy, while you are burdened with the truth that you cannot unsee. You know things about the human condition, about existence, that others would rather not know, and with that knowledge comes the painful realization that no one can truly understand you. No one can meet you at your level. This is the curse Schopenhauer spoke of. It's not that intelligence brings you power or control over life. It brings a relentless, isolating clarity. It's as if your mind is a constant storm, full of insights and revelations that set you apart from the rest. Schopenhauer's view on this isolation was stark. He didn't romanticize the intellectual life. Instead, he saw it for what it truly was, a solitary path, walked by those who cannot escape their own thoughts. And with this solitude comes a deep, existential pain. It's the pain of not being able to connect, to find people who truly understand you. The world becomes a stage, but no one else is playing the same play. In the end, Schopenhauer's genius was not in his brilliance alone. It was in his ability to recognize the isolation that came with it. The brilliant mind, once awakened, is forever separated from the simplicity of the world around it, and the price of this awareness is solitude. This section explores Schopenhauer's take on the isolation that comes with intelligence, connecting emotionally with those who have experienced a similar sense of separation or alienation from others. Clarity is a blessing and a curse. What if seeing the world clearly meant losing your ability to enjoy it? Schopenhauer believed that genius isn't just about understanding, it's about seeing too much. Clarity isn't a gift, it's a razor-sharp blade that cuts through the illusion of happiness and satisfaction. The more clearly you perceive reality, the harder it becomes to find peace. Once you've broken through the veil of ignorance, it's impossible to unsee the truth. And for Schopenhauer, that truth was a deeply uncomfortable one. Life is defined by suffering. We are all driven by desires that can never be fully satisfied, caught in an endless cycle of yearning and frustration. The more you understand this, the more you realize how hollow everything else truly is. Imagine looking around and seeing the world as it really is. Not the filtered version that people project, but the raw, unvarnished truth. You start to see the cracks in every conversation, the masks that people wear, the meaningless distractions they use to escape the emptiness of existence. You realize that most people don't want to know the truth because it's too painful. But you can't look away. You can't turn off your mind. Schopenhauer called this painful awareness the curse of clarity. The more you see, the more you understand the futility of it all. Happiness becomes an illusion, and pleasure is nothing more than a brief escape from the agony of desire. The more you comprehend, the more you begin to feel the weight of the world pressing down on you. This realization is what separates the genius from the rest of society. While most people live in a state of blissful ignorance, only concerned with the next distraction, the brilliant mind is burdened by a constant awareness of how transient everything is. No pleasure lasts. No desire is ever fully satisfied, and no matter how much you achieve, there's always something more that eludes you. It's like being awake in a dream everyone else is asleep to. You try to share your insights, but they fall on deaf ears. You explain the truths you've come to understand, but they only make others uncomfortable. The more you know, the more distant you become from everyone around you. You begin to see that you're in a prison of your own making, a prison of knowledge, and the worst part, you can't escape it. Once you've unlocked the truth of existence, there's no going back to the comfortable illusion you once lived in. You can't erase what you know. The more you grasp, the more you feel the weight of your own consciousness. This is Schopenhauer's dark truth, that to be fully aware is to suffer endlessly. This section dives deep into Schopenhauer's view that heightened intelligence brings a painful awareness of life's inherent flaws, encouraging viewers to reflect on their own moments of clarity and how it might change their view of the world. Is it possible to find peace in a world built on pain? By now, you've seen the weight of intelligence. You've come face to face with the isolation, the constant awareness, and the unrelenting burden that comes with knowing too much. You've experienced the curse of clarity and felt the sting of truth that shatters the illusions others hold dear. But what if all this suffering, all this pain, has a purpose? What if, within this darkness, there lies a hidden path to peace? Schopenhauer, despite his dismal outlook on life, didn't simply leave us to wallow in despair. He didn't want us to succumb to the agony of awareness and intelligence. Instead, he offered us something more paradoxical, a way to transcend the very suffering that made genius so painful. The core of Schopenhauer's wisdom lies in his understanding of life's fundamental nature, its inherent suffering. For him, suffering wasn't just an unfortunate byproduct of existence, it was the driving force of life. He saw the world as a place where every living being is constantly striving, desiring, reaching, hoping for something that will finally give them peace, only to be left wanting more. This ceaseless cycle of desire and dissatisfaction is at the heart of all human experience, and it's a cycle that the brilliant mind can see all too clearly. However, Schopenhauer's philosophy isn't just about recognizing the inherent misery of existence. It's about embracing it, accepting that life, as we know it, is built on pain and striving, and finding a way to make peace with that reality. For Schopenhauer, true peace comes not from escaping the world of suffering, but from accepting it fully. The most profound form of freedom, he argued, lies in our ability to relinquish our desires. The more we long for something, the more we suffer. The more we yearn for a world that aligns with our desires, the deeper we fall into despair. But once we accept the pain, once we let go of the need for constant fulfillment, we can begin to transcend it. This is where Schopenhauer's philosophy takes a turn that many would find surprising. Instead of encouraging us to reject life or to find comfort in ignorance, Schopenhauer suggests that the key to freeing ourselves from suffering lies in embracing the very things that cause it. He tells us that through the renunciation of our constant desires, through the quieting of the mind, we can step outside the cycle of striving and find peace in the present moment. Schopenhauer was not a nihilist. He did not believe that life was without value. On the contrary, he believed that it was only by accepting the world as it is, flawed, painful, and fleeting, that we could find true beauty and meaning. He found this in art, music, and the contemplation of beauty. In these moments, the striving ceases. The mind becomes still, and for a fleeting moment we experience what Schopenhauer considered to be the closest thing to transcendence. The brilliant mind, often trapped in the labyrinth of its own thoughts, can find respite in these moments of artistic or spiritual transcendence. Schopenhauer believed that through art, through the appreciation of beauty, we could momentarily step outside the pain and suffering of existence. The artist, he argued, has the rare ability to capture these moments of stillness. Through their work, we are offered a brief escape from the relentless cycles of desire and disillusionment. This brings us to the ultimate question. Can the pain of brilliance, the agony of knowing, be transformed into something of value? Schopenhauer's answer was yes, but only if we are willing to accept our pain, to stop resisting it, and to embrace the impermanence of life. By doing so, we unlock a deeper form of understanding that goes beyond intellect and reason. In the process of embracing suffering, we learn something invaluable about ourselves. We understand that we are not simply our minds, our desires, or our intellect. We are more than our thoughts. We are beings capable of experiencing moments of peace, moments of beauty, and moments of stillness. And in these moments, Schopenhauer believed, we find true freedom. It's the freedom that comes not from intellectual understanding, but from transcending the constant need to understand. The artist, the philosopher, and the contemplative all share one thing in common. They are able to step outside the world of desire and striving. They have found a way to silence the noise, to let go of the constant push for more. And in this quieting of the mind, they experience a freedom that cannot be found through intellect alone. Schopenhauer's tragic wisdom reveals that intelligence is not the key to happiness or peace. It's the key to seeing the truth of suffering. But once you see it, you don't have to live in its grip. You can accept it, you can transcend it. For those who are brave enough to walk this path, there is a form of peace. It is not the peace of ignorance, nor the peace of escape. It is the peace that comes from embracing the full weight of existence, from seeing the truth and choosing to live with it, rather than in opposition to it. As we close this exploration of Schopenhauer's philosophy, consider the truth that lies at its core. Brilliance comes at a cost. But within that cost, there is wisdom, there is freedom, and there is peace. Not the kind of peace that comes from avoiding pain, but the peace that arises from accepting the impermanence and suffering of existence. So the question remains, are you willing to embrace the pain of knowing, to transcend the constant cycle of desire, and to find peace in the face of all that you cannot change? If you are, then you may find something more precious than brilliance itself, something that lies beyond intellect, beyond reason, and beyond the endless striving of the world. The truth is, genius may isolate you, and the pain may be inevitable, but it is only through embracing that truth that you can truly find peace.